talking about their cases to shine a light on their experiences and what they say is an effort to silence them. And now insiders from the court are fighting back. Investigative reporter Chris Nagus has a revealed glimpse of the system some women say is all about the money.
I had to pay that bill, yes.
Courtney Nolan will never forget the sticker shock for her contentious divorce.
Looking at a grand scheme, I would say between $700,000 and $1 million.
She spent plenty with attorneys, but also on expenses she didn't expect. As the divorce progressed, she found herself in court-ordered therapy with this man, Dr. James Reed.
When Dr. Reed was appointed, did you have a say in that matter?
No. A motion was filed by opposing counsel, and they had selected him.
You had never heard of him before?
No.
Nolan says she received psychological evaluations, which included written tests.
One of them probably has 500 questions.
Nolan says she took what's known as the MMPI test. Dr. James Butcher spent his career studying the MMPI test at the University of Minnesota. He says the test can evaluate an individual's mental state. It's an objective test, correct?
Yes, it is an objective test.
And can that test itself lead to a diagnosis?
Yes, it suggests diagnosis.
Nolan was under the impression a written test did not reveal anything extraordinary.
But you ended up getting diagnosed with a personality disorder.
Multiple personality disorders,
including major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, borderline, and narcissistic.
It was purely subjective. It was given by Dr. Reed. He said that there was no way that those tests could have possibly been right, and made reference that I had cheated on the tests.
I was completely naive.
Avita Tolu says she can relate. During her child custody battle, she was also ordered to see Dr. Reed and was referred by Elaine Pudlowski, an attorney acting as the guardian ad litem, which is hired to look out for the best interest of the kids. Like Nolan, Tolu received a diagnosis that shocked her.
I was diagnosed as a sociopath. I was diagnosed with a borderline personality disorder.
Did he explain to you how he arrived at that decision?
No, he did not. Because we called him for a deposition, and at deposition he could only tell that that was his subjective opinion.
Had you ever been diagnosed with any of these things before in your life?
I've never even heard of some of them. No.
Both women say the court-ordered therapy was not only emotionally stressful, but financially. According to court filings, Tolu and her ex were billed $30,000 by Reed, another $5,000 to depose him, and nearly $3,000 just to obtain a copy of her file. Nolan claims she spent $35,000 with Reed, another $50,000 hiring experts to challenge him, and then another pile of money trying to question Reed.
In the deposition the morning of, he sent me an invoice for the deposition for just under $17,000.
Are people surprised by the cost?
I hope so, because it's pretty outrageous.
Tim Roldan represents Avita Tolu. He's filed a lawsuit against Dr. Reed, Elaine Pudlowski, and another therapist named Jennifer Van Leuven, who was hired to work with Tolu's children.
So we've alleged in general, as a layperson's term, we would just say malpractice, okay? Each one of them in different areas.
According to the lawsuit, Dr. Reed released Tolu's report to Pudlowski. Pudlowski then filed a motion to limit release of that report. Tolu's attorney is accusing Pudlowski of sharing Tolu's diagnosis with Van Leuven, the therapist seeing Tolu's kids.
And encouraged the reunification therapist to discuss it with her children. And that's what happened.
According to the lawsuit, Van Leuven discussed the custody case in great detail and shared adult information with both children and discussed Reed's diagnosis. The suit claims Tolu addressed the issue with Pudlowski and that Pudlowski stated that according to Van Leuven, the children disclosed the contents of the Reed report. It goes on to say Pudlowski refused to address Tolu's concerns in any meaningful way. Tolu is suing everyone involved and claims the impact was so detrimental, she no longer has a relationship with her children. There's no question the lawsuit has caught the attention of those who work in the St. Louis County family court system.
But one of the things that we know is we all have each other's back.
Sarah Pleben is also a guardian ad litem. She recently ran a Zoom meeting with 36 of her peers to discuss Pudlowski's legal predicament. Someone recorded that meeting and anonymously posted it to YouTube. Pudlowski briefly spoke about her legal challenge.
My motion to dismiss is basically about judicial immunity or quasi-judicial immunity.
As the meeting progressed, the group decided to offer Pudlowski financial support. But more eye-opening, some of the challenges they face finding therapists to evaluate people like Tolu and Nolan, professionals like Dr. Reed.
We don't have many people to do custody evaluation. The pool is this deep. So I'm sure everybody has some pros and cons about Jim Reed. I mean, but he's one of the substantial ones. And if he's knocked out, or if he says, like Elaine does, and like Jen's getting ready to do, I don't want to do this anymore, it's not worth it, then I already have tons of people that won't call me back, and I don't take it personally, but when I call and say, hey, I've got a case, would you be interested? Nope. You know, and now what? Now no one's going to. You know, if I mention, oh, by the way, the last couple of cases I referred to people they got sued on. So that's another problem.
As for Nolan, she recommends couples settle their divorce outside the confines of the family courts. She says court-ordered therapy did nothing to help her emotional or financial situation.
Ultimately, it was the two of us kind of coming back together and saying, take them all out of it. Like, this has been a nightmare. Let's come together for the kids. And so we settled it.
News 4 reached out to Elaine Pudlowski. Her attorney responded and said, we are eager to argue our motions. As to any specific allegations in the lawsuit or the questions posed in your email, it is my policy not to discuss such matters while litigation is pending. They have filed a motion to dismiss. Dr. Reed did not respond to our request for comment, neither did Jennifer Van Leuven. Attorneys representing both parties have also filed motions to dismiss. Sarah Pleben returned my first phone call. I called her back, but did not hear back. At this point, every judge in the 21st Judicial Circuit has recused themselves from hearing the case, so it will now be transferred to the Missouri Supreme Court for reassignment. Chris Negus, News